I am Grace Munoz. I am the costume designer for Fiddler on the Roof, and I am coming here from Terre Haute, Indiana. So I got here because John had asked me to do a show with him about 3 years ago, and unfortunately I was not able to come for that show, but it just kind of worked out this year that I was able to come and help out with Fiddler on the Roof and design for that show, which is great because Fiddler on the Roof is actually one of my favorite shows. Fiddler on the Roof, this design in particular, is really, really earthy. It's really, really homey. I would call it warm in a really sad way. So everybody is kind of pieced together to kind of look as though they borrowed a skirt from their next door neighbor when their mother grew out of it, or they were able to borrow this vest from this person once their son was old enough to get a new one. So it kind of looks like the entire town of Anatevka took pieces and parts from each other and are kind of swapping clothes within a community. And I wanted everybody to be in kind of really nice warm earth tones to go along with the warmth that is within this story. Because although the script is really, really sad, I think that there's a lot of hope and warmth within the story of Fiddler on the Roof as well. I usually begin my process by talking with the director and seeing what their vision is for the show, because that kind of determines where I go for my vision. So if the director has a really, really clear concept and he wants the audience to walk away thinking a certain thing or feeling a certain way, that's going to drive my design as well, because I want to go into that same concept. So after that, I will go into research mode, where I just kind of find a bunch of images, a bunch of historical research that kind of go along with the time period of the show, the kind of feeling we're going for, and compile everything together into one big giant design board. And as the process kind of continues and kind of filters down, I will go into each character individually, I will go into the ensemble by themselves, and kind of see how everybody kind of fits together and how the design can be cohesive throughout, rather than picking apart principals versus ensemble. Because I think, especially with Fiddler on the Roof, it's such a community-based show, community-based script, so everybody kind of needed to look like they belong together. So after all of that research is done, I either build costumes from scratch. I've been able to pull from stock here at OCC. I've also been really fortunate to be able to pull stock from other universities, to be able to be more judicious with what I was purchasing for the show. And then I will go into purchasing. We have some historical garments that are new in this show, and we were able to do full-on builds like for the puppets in the show as well. And then we'll have fittings with all of the actors. They get to kind of see and feel all of their costumes, and then I come back and they're finished and I get to watch them play on stage. Once the costumes hit the stage for dress rehearsals, that's kind of when I just start to tweak things. So we do all the kind of big cuts and movements and changing full-on pieces during the fitting process. This process was really fast, so there's still some things that I'm changing, but for the most part it's just little tweaks. Little hems have to move up, buttons have to get moved, some aprons are switching around to different people, but otherwise it's just little bits and pieces that are moving. There are so many people in this show. And each person has at least 5 pieces, so we have over 300 pieces in this show. So mostly just keeping track of everything has been the most difficult part of this entire process. I've been really fortunate, and I have some really great students that I teach over at ISU who I have been able to contract to help me finish and stitch part of this show. We've done a lot of midnight sewing parties. We've done a lot of back and forth in my car for fittings. So kind of just having people that I could rely on for that process has been really, really amazing and so instrumental in getting this process done, just because of the amount of pieces there are and the amount of little things that we've had to do. But it's a lot of sewing after dark. It's a lot of me asking their opinions, because they're growing designers and I really value their opinions. It's a lot of me kind of complaining to my family about needing to sew so late, but they're there with me as well. It's been really wonderful to have those people, and everybody here has been so patient and kind and open to what I had to say during this process, and that makes all the difference. I've been sewing since I was 4. My grandmother taught me how to sew when I was really, really little, and we would build skirts for our folk dancing troupe that we had in Chicago, and that's how I got started sewing. And then I was growing up, I was really, really into theater. I thought I was going to be an actress, realized that's not what I want to be. I have a lot more fun making things and playing dress up with people. And so when I went into undergrad, I kind of focused more on props and costume design. And then I didn't realize until much later that costume design was where I wanted to find my home and where I found the most joy and where I felt like my process, my ideals, and my way of doing theater all kind of melded into one. It's mostly just, I really love interacting with people. I love being a part of a process, and I love building things and making people feel good in their costumes is my favorite thing in the entire world. Try. Just, if you want to make something, learn how to make it. I learned how to make a lot of things by watching videos and going through historical patterns and doing the research. Like, if it's something you really, really want to do, find a way to make it a part of your life as much as you can for as long a time as you can.